Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers. My name is Bill Matz. I am your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me today, it is Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. What's up, Hinks?
I know this is going to be a good show because Bill and I did a whole show for about 20 minutes before they turned the mics on.
What is up with every Flyers player, their favorite show being Suits?
Suits. I have
it's been over for years, has it not?
It has. But as we discussed, I believe that one person watched one episode of Suits on Netflix, and then they were like, bro, you got to watch Suits. All the girls are hot. And then they all started watching Suits.
I would say the pilot is very good. I did watch it for like the first 4 seasons or so when it was on.
I watched it.
And then I don't want to give out any spoilers for this decade-old show, but once the main point of conflict is resolved, it's like, all right, well, that was that. I don't need any new storylines.
Yeah, the youths are watching Suits.
But it did come back for some. Didn't they make like new episodes?
They did make like a new season.
It got super popular on Netflix, like when all the royal stuff was happening. It was like, well, let's see her show now.
Right.
And then I think they got fooled into thinking we should make more.
From what I didn't watch it, but from what I understand, it was a mistake. I don't think it was good. I think it was like Suits LA or something.
Yeah,
and they put Harvey in LA for some reason. Harvey's a New York guy. You can't put Harvey in LA. Let's be real. Yeah.
For LA, you need Ari. Like that show needs to be Entourage, and it's about show business.
Gotta have Ari and LR.
But yeah, that was
make Charlie watch Letterkenny at some point.
We will be watching. No, we're gonna make Charlie watch Shoresy this summer.
Excellent.
I think next week, the Tuesdays. But you're not going to be here next week.
That's okay. You can still without me.
Maybe Tuesday reviews days. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe the Flyers will make a trade. Probably not, because the question of today's show. And before we get started, hit the like button. 44. That's a nice start. We had a decent number yesterday. I want to beat it today. 300 before we finish.
Let's beat it without Charlie here.
300 before we hit 1 o'clock. Let's do it.
Let's go.
The question of today's show. Do you think Danny Briere is done? It kind of feels like with the amount of cap space they have, very little. Like if you go to Puckpedia, it's like $300,000. But they have a few guys on the roster who don't need to or won't be here when the season starts. It's probably a little over $1 million. Charlie's been showing us his little depth chart that he's put together. Not a lot of wiggle room. Now you could always make a hockey trade a roster player for a different roster player. So perhaps that's a possibility. Trim some space elsewhere. But kind of feels like he's done.
So it really does. First of all, because I don't know what else there's definitely nothing else he needs to do, right? Like we could start the season with this group of players and be all right. Like it'll be fine. Also, I feel like it seemed like free agency this year. It was all super front loaded with dudes just staying with their own team because they're boring.
Of course.
And then there was like July 1, a whole bunch of stuff happened. And then there was like a few little trickle in moves.
Like Ehlers trickled in and that was it. Then it ended.
And then that was it. And I feel like maybe we're all getting to the cottage early this year because like the guys that are left are like dregs. Yeah, like no one's in a big rush to sign them. I feel like these are the dudes where you're like, somebody got hurt lifting weights.
Yes.
We need a left wing. And then you just sign some random dude on like August 9th or something. Like nothing else I think is going to happen of note league-wide for the rest of the season.
I guess Byram could get traded. I guess Velarde could get traded.
Maybe.
But it pretty much feels like that's it. And like signings from here, it's like, our assistant GM can handle that. Like Danny doesn't need to be on the phone making this deal, Let
me ask you this. If they did start the season tomorrow with this roster, are you cool with that?
I am.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels a little incomplete. I don't love the signing they made in net. Dvorak is fine. I wanted maybe a little bit better of a goaltender, but he's probably on the same level as the other guys. It just wasn't one of my preferred picks in net. But yeah, I think this is pretty much it. He's probably done. And honestly, in terms of at least just free agent signings, they have $1 million. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good on free agents. There's nothing out there really that intrigues me. If you want to make a trade for an RFA like Gabe Vilardi, okay, but you're going to have to open up a ton of money to do it. Like it's going to trade moving a roster player or two. Like here's Owen Tippett and Bobby Brink or something like that, just to trim. Oh yeah, fine. Fine by me, but it does feel like this is probably it. Just when training camp opens, it's this. It's what we have right now. If you open up their depth chart, if you open up Puckpedia or whatever, the team you see is the team you're going to get. And maybe, this surprise will be, Martone made it, or Emil Andre's here and someone else isn't. Someone has to go through waivers. Maybe that happens. But between now and the start of camp, I would bet that this is it.
I think it is. And I'm honestly fine with it. Like, I know it seems like the goalie thing is the one that people are most dissatisfied with. But has everyone forgotten how bad it was? Because, like, Dan Vladar, while not impressive, really, is like a huge upgrade over what we had.
League average is so much better than the overall goaltending they got last year.
So ready for league average. And also, like, first of all, the term was a big thing. They obviously did not want to have to give any goaltender any kind of term, regardless of price, which I think is a good
understandable.
Move.
None of these guys are world beaters. You have some guys in your system.
Right.
We're going to go spend 3-4 years on a guy who isn't very good.
Exactly. So there's that. And then also, like, I'm not putting aside the idea that this front office isn't like, we're going to do what we need to do. We're going to try real hard next year. But if we're bad, lottery pick, all right.
I look at this team, and that's...
Let me be clear. I don't think they're trying to be a lottery team, but I do think that they, in the back of their mind, are like, if that happens, all right.
I think last year the thought was, well, we're going to go in with these goalies and see what happens. Maybe Fedotov can play. Maybe Kolosov surprises us. Maybe Ersson is a number one. And clearly, none of those things happened, and they ended up where they were.
Yeah.
This year, we want some level of competence so that we can judge everybody else.
Yeah.
And because we have confidence in everybody else, like, I bet you they think Owen Tippett's going to score 29, 30 goals next year.
I hope they're right.
I bet you they think that Bobby Brink takes another step, that Cam York takes another step, that Jamie Drysdale is better, that Matvei Michkov is a point-a-game player. And so that means the minimal additions they made will be enough to have them at least near the playoffs. But I put here, like, just looking at what I think this depth chart could be. And, like, I don't see Michkov potentially playing on the second line. Like, I bet you he gets way more ice time than last year.
Here's hoping.
I don't see Bump on the fourth line. But just the idea of this depth chart as I have it, Coots with Tippett and TK, Zegras with Forster, and who knows if he's healthy. I have a little asterisk with Michkov, Cates, Dvorak, Brink. I kind of just like the idea of, well, that's the shutdown line, and the one thing Cates can't do is win a face-off. Let's put them together.
I like it.
And then, like, Bump, Abels, Hathaway. Bump could be, who knows, with Michkov to start the year if Forster's hurt, whatever. But then you have Delorier probably starting out in the press box. Maybe Martone makes the team, and then everything changes. But you kind of have that at forward. And on defense, Sanheim, York, Sealer, Drysdale, Zamula, Risto. Who knows if Risto's healthy? They signed Juleson.
Yeah.
Maybe Andre makes the team, but I don't know if that's as likely as it was. But there was an article up on BSH, I think today or yesterday, about Zamula. Maybe he's the odd man out. And I could see it. I know they like him, but there's guys with higher ceilings.
I was going to say, how long are we going to keep trying?
How long are we going to?
Yeah, like, he's a guy.
He's been pretty good with Risto, and Risto might not be starting the year.
Right.
So, like, all right. But, like, that's pretty much what they have on D. And then Ersson, Vladar with Fedotov probably in the minors, but who knows? I doubt they want to go with 3 goalies again after the disaster that was last year.
I really hope not.
You look at this. Is this a playoff team?
Okay, so the Metro's not very good.
No, it's
right
a couple
now.
of teams.
Couple
and
of
then
teams and then a pile of garbage. If we can climb to the top of the pile of garbage, we're in a wild card spot, most likely. If the goaltending can be not a disaster, and they are even marginally improved from last season, then they're absolutely a wild card team.
They
got close.
The big caveat once again. Like, I do think the roster is better. Simply Michkov having another year.
Right.
If it was just Zegras, that's the big addition.
Yeah.
And Michkov is a year older, they're a better team.
Yes.
Now, the big caveat is, can Ersson stay healthy and be some semblance of the guy he was in the first half 2 years ago? And can Vladar be average and do it for enough games to keep Ersson from having to play 50 times?
We just need him to be Brian Elliott, really.
That's it. Can they just kind of split the starts and be fine? Like, if they're at 898
good enough
combined,
good enough.
They could very well make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a guarantee. I believe Ersson is better than he's played. But for the last year and a half, he has not been very good.
I just, once again, would like to ask everyone who says that out loud, because a lot of people do. Like, you're not alone. Why, though? Why do you think he's better than he's shown? Because, like, he hasn't really shown that much.
I think if he plays less, if you're able to spell him more, he can be the guy he was when he was backing up Hart and ultimately got to the point of, oh, maybe this should be 50-50. And if it's that or a little less, but the thing is, I don't know if Vladar is a 40.
I don't know either.
I don't know if he's a 40-game starter.
It does seem like,
I don't think he's just ever started 30.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like, I know that we always think of, like, the prime of a player's career as, like, 24, 25, but it really does seem like with goalies it's more 26, 27, 28. So there is a solid chance that Ersson could, like, grow into something resembling a competent goaltender. I just, like, at this point for me, that's the surprising outcome. Like, I'm just expecting him to be what he was last year with, and I mean, like, performance-wise and injury-wise, which are both problems.
I think the injury thing, like, one informs the other.
Right.
Like, I think he plays too much, so he wears down and then gets hurt.
And then
like, you go from tired to injured quickly at that position.
If he's not that, if he's better, cool. Great news for everybody. But I don't know.
I guess that's why I was hoping they'd have a little bit more of an upgrade in net, because I see Ersson as a backup. I think he could be a very good backup. But I don't see him as more than a once-a-week guy, and this puts him in position to play more than that. They clearly think he has more than that, or they're stealth tanking, one or the other.
Do you think they're maybe, like, hoping to get Bjarnason? Because, like, if he's in the AHL playing, which we assume that he is, and there's an injury, like, he's the guy that's coming up, right? Unless they bring up Fedotov to back up Dan Vladar or something. I don't know. That would be fun.
I think it would be Fedotov, just because, like, Bjarnason got drafted a year ago.
He's really young.
It's his first year pro. Right. He's like, Carter Hart took more time than that, he was supposed to be a franchise goaltender. Now, maybe Bjarnason turns into one. I don't think it's, like, completely off the table.
Right.
But I haven't heard anyone be like, oh, he's your next guy. I liked what I saw out of him, and I think he might be good, but he seems like a developmental project that's going to take some time.
Yeah, I don't think you can throw a
I don't know if they want to expose him to the NHL like the way they did Alexei Kolosov and just be like, well,
that went really well.
Exactly. Like, that was a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, like I think they would want to keep him in Allentown at least for one entire season.
Yeah.
But listen, Fedotov is also very bad. And if Bjarnason is, like, kind of good in the AHL, maybe you have to give him a shot. But could be one of the intriguing stories, because it's not like we don't have injury concerns about the NHL netminders.
That's a December conversation.
It is probably a December conversation.
Feels about when it'll hit.
That's so. Yeah, I guess it all comes down to goaltending, as it always does, if this is a playoff team or not.
Everything is goaltending.
Do you think Danny should be done? Like, has he done enough in your mind? I know that everyone has next year circled. Oh, cap's going up. All the dead money comes off. Do you think he did enough this offseason?
Yeah, I do. I think that the Zegras move was huge for them. Because while it is definitely a question mark, there is no doubt that he could be a kind of number one center in the NHL. Like, he's not a Nathan McKinnon style 1C, but the talent does appear to exist within him for him to be able to be a very dynamic, high-scoring player in the NHL. Will he get back to that here? Unclear, but that's why he was so cheap.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of a big deal because that is the hole. Like, that's the big one that needed to be filled in order for this team to even hope to be able to turn into a contender. I would imagine that if he thought he could get Velarde, who is definitely more of a sure thing than Zegras, he probably would have done that. It seems pretty clear to me, like Danny Briere is working the phones. Danny Briere is making deals. Like he's getting stuff done. He's throwing offers at GMs to see what he can get out of them. I'm sure that he tried to do other things that he thought maybe would have helped this team, but the price wasn't right or whatever. I'm happy enough with what happened this summer that I'm looking forward to seeing what this team looks like on the ice. And honestly, like that, I think was like the best possible outcome. You weren't going to turn this team into contender this summer.
No.
But you did enough that like I can look at this roster that you just went through and be like, ooh, you know what? That might be a little bit of a hockey team.
It's another evaluation year,
Yeah.
but I think they steadied themselves enough that you can further evaluate guys like better.
Agreed.
with Dvorak, whether he's playing center
Somebody
or
to win a face-off.
being a support player, like he can help you out. Having a better netminder, having a little bit more depth on the blue line, like all of these things help you evaluate the players who you think are going to make up your core just a little bit better so you can understand what you need to improve in the upcoming offseason. And there are opportunities. Like Zegras is new. That is a new thing. Mm-hmm. Like I fully expect Alex Bump to be on this team. That's
I'm
new
so excited about
That's
Alex
new
Bump.
and fun, and it's something we haven't seen before. So it's not as if this team, even if they are what they are right now, is without additions. And like Porter Martone might be able to make it. I would be surprised, but we'll see him in camp.
My dream at this point is for him to get on up to Penn State and maybe make a friend.
Maybe make a friend.
Maybe make a new best friend.
Listen, I am all for the tampering and recruitment.
Yes.
It's just like I'm not counting on this team winning the lottery. I just don't see that as a thing.
The thing.
I don't see that as a thing. He refuses to sign. He refuses to go anywhere.
Here's my question because I don't fully understand.
Reverse cutter.
Since he's now an NCAA guy, even though like he gets the full benefit of being an NCAA guy, right? Like he would get to do a cutter if he wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he doesn't sign until he signs a contract. He's nowhere, and it will get formalized where everyone, no matter where they go, is 22. But I don't know if that would kick in for him. I don't know how.
I'm just saying, Porter Martone seems like a nice boy.
He does,
they
and
could be friends.
if he is able
tell him about the practice facilities.
He's able to convince McKenna that Philly is the only place he should sign.
They can watch Suits together.
Then that's outstanding. They can watch Suits together. Suits, the like lowest stakes, dumbest show. And like, listen, I watched like 4 seasons of it.
Oh wait, tell the people what you called it because it's the best character.
Mad Men for dummies. Like that's basically. And like again, I watched it. It's just like. Oh, it has that snappy dialogue that makes you think it's well written, but really it isn't. They make movie references so you feel cool, but like it's just like
all
guys.
Right, sorry, I'm not going to talk about
guys
anymore.
with cool hair. That's really it's like
derailing
guys with well done hair is really what that show is about. Yep. I think this team has a chance to make the playoffs.
I think they do,
but it is completely goaltending dependent.
Yep.
Or like Michkov and Zegras are. Point and Kucherov, and we have no worries.
Wouldn't that be something?
That's that. If that's what happens, then sure, nobody has anything to worry about whatsoever. All right, and with that, let's hit our first commercial break. 1-800-588-2300 Empire. Empire today has flooring experts. That's why they are the reason. That is the reason there's no other place to go for your new flooring, because it's not like when you go to a big box store and you're hoping to find someone to talk to, and if you can, you realize you know more about flooring than they do because they're just an employee doing one job today and another one tomorrow. No, that is not the case Everybody at Empire lives and breathes flooring, and they're with you every step of the way. There's no, oh, well, I picked out my materials, I got to lug them home, and now I hope my measurements were right and all of that. Oh, I can't do this. Time to go find a contractor. Nope, that's not the case with Empire today. They're with you every step of the way, and they do something none of the big box stores will do. They bring the showroom right to your home so you can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space in your space. See how it all looks with your furniture in your house up against your paint colors and all of that. And they take the precise measurements for you and have all your questions answered, so there are never any surprises. And with Empire today, you get clear upfront and all-inclusive pricing, and you can schedule installation as soon as the next day because nobody wants to wait around. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things, well, they're just better at home. And PHLY listeners, listen up, because you can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHLY. That's $350 off with discount code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/PHLY for full details. While we're here, got to tell you about our friends at Parx Casino, because whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParx online casino app. Check out brand new casino games like Huff and More Puff and Fireblaze Sky Queen, a BetParx exclusive. It's the only app I ever use to play all my favorite casino games in the palm of my hand, wherever I am. You can play blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes, and Cleopatra. There's also slots based on your favorite streaming shows like The Walking Dead, Squid Game, Breaking Bad, Peaky Blinders. I wonder if there's a Suits one. That's a lot of people's favorite. And new users, now is the time to go with Parx. You got to listen to this because you can get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. All you got to do is go to betparx.com and download the app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and older and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so for what it's worth, Ryan Clark and Kristen Shilton of ESPN, they graded each team's offseason. They gave Briere and company a B+.
Solid.
Yeah, I think I might have just gone with like a straight B. But the draft, getting Porter Martone, getting all those second round picks. I'm even coming around on Nesbitt a little bit. Trevor Zegras, obviously, upgrading in net, not really giving anything up except Ryan Poehling, who, while I am willing to part with Ryan Poehling for the addition of Trevor Zegras. Dvorak is a fine depth player. Yeah, it seems like he's done a pretty good job. I wouldn't say he's done anything crazy. That said, Trevor Zegras might be awesome.
I just think
there's a chance he's great.
Like we're at the point in Danny Briere's tenure where you really have to like look for and reach for negative things that you can use to continue to stay mad about this hockey team. If Dan Vladar is the worst thing that you do in the offseason to upgrade over the dude that could not stop a beach ball coming at him from 2 miles an hour or whatever, like if that's the worst thing that happened, okay.
He's been measured.
We're fine.
Maybe outside of Zegras and bringing Michkov over, not a ton of like exciting stuff. But he's being measured and being patient.
Yep.
And I appreciate he hasn't made any mega blunders
yet. There hasn't been a loss.
I feel like there hasn't been a huge mistake yet.
Nope.
The Cutter Gauthier situation was what it was. I think everyone's a little to blame there.
Absolutely not
but
on him.
There's, I can't say there's been, well, that's going to kill you. I can't say he's done that yet that I have seen. So I think B+ is about fair.
Yeah, it seems fair to me.
All right. I think Danny's done. Of course, that means we'll probably be doing an emergency pod at like 3 o'clock today. Why wouldn't we? Charlie's off. It'd be fun to ruin his off day. That would be great. But let's get to some leftover mailbag questions from last week. There's a bunch of stuff I'm going to get to today, but we have a couple more mailbag questions I think might be decent. So let's start it off with a question from MST, and it's something we tackled a little bit in the first segment. The goalie they chose on day one, doesn't it feel like they have one foot in the improvement race and one in the McKenna sweepstakes? And do you think them knowing that Forster could wind up with a greatly reduced impact due to injury maybe played into that decision anyway?
Yeah.
They didn't go out and do anything nuts in net, and there probably were better upgrades to be made somewhere. But a lot of the league is looking for goaltending.
Right.
And they didn't want to spend major assets with Zavragin and Bjarnason in the system.
Nope.
I don't know if it's like in the McKenna sweepstakes so much as it is just like keeping a lot of different options open.
Right.
I don't think they expect to be a bottom 10 team.
I don't think they expect to be either, but I also think that they look at this team and they see the same things that we do. And they're very clearly not idiots. Like, this isn't Chuck Fletcher. And I think that they know that, like, if a bunch of things break wrong this season, they will be a lottery team. And that's probably why they didn't want to trade that pick or throw out an offer sheet to someone who would cost that pick, because in the back of their minds, they know, okay, we think we're going to be good if X, Y, and Z happens. If Owen Tippett sucks again, if Tyson Forster is out for an extended period of time, if Risto keeps getting hurt and can't play, if the goaltending is garbage, like, all of these things could plausibly happen. And if they do, team's not going to be very good. And they're thinking, like, all right, well, if they're not very good and we're in this lottery for the next Sidney Crosby, like, cool, good consolation prize. And I don't think that's like a bad way to go, because again, they weren't expecting to turn this team into contender this season. And the moves that they made kind of show that they're like treating this season as kind of like its own like little pocket experiment.
We are trying to prop up the core we have to see exactly what they are.
Nobody got term.
Yeah.
Like, I know people were mad that Dvorak got so much money, but who cares? It's 1 year. Like, they were very clearly, like you said, measured in the way they approached this offseason. And they made moves to improve the team, and they might work. But if they don't, I don't think it's a huge loss, because they weren't supposed to be doing anything this year outside of, as you said, evaluating the players they have and hopefully helping the guys that they consider to be part of the core to take steps forward. And I think that what they did that, and that's good enough.
Yeah, I think they had a good enough that they don't expect, but things could always go wrong. Now, the Forster thing's interesting because they seem to be of the, we don't know. But it creates opportunity even more so. I know Brent Flair the other day said Alex Bumps put himself in the position to make this team with or without the Forster injury. But maybe it opens the door for a Martone or someone else. Maybe Tony Dick gets an extended look or something.
Would love that for him.
Yeah, but it's there is opportunity there. But I don't know how much it weighed into their like, oh, well, we shouldn't get the best goalie available because what if Tyson Forster's hurt? Like, I don't think it weighed in that much.
No,
but
like I said, I think they were trying to improve the team. They were making moves that they think will make the team better. But also, they're not idiots. They know that they didn't do anything surefire. We all know that. They know that every move they made was a gamble, except for Dvorak, because it's a 1-year contract with a dude that wins faceoffs, and that's pretty much what we needed from a center at this point.
No, even the even zegras, like, they can be as excited as they want about it.
But they don't know.
But even Danny Briere said, like, it's a risk worth taking at that price.
Right. Yes.
It is a risk. Sure, no one has any idea if this guy is going to be the star it looked like he would be after his first 2 years in the league. But when it costs you that little, so I don't know if they have one foot on either side of the line, but there probably is a little bit of, well, there's just question marks. They didn't solve, like, they still don't have a number one defenseman. They still don't have a number one center. Maybe they do, but there's just a lot of questions that could go either way, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Bean. What up, Bean? Out of the goalies in the system, who do you think is the franchise goalie?
I mean, who knows, because the goalies are insane and don't make any sense. But, like, I mean, based on performance to date, you have to assume it's Zavragin, right?
Zavragin probably has the highest upside. I don't want to completely rule out Carson Bjarnason.
I'm not ruling him out. And I think it was Charlie on the show that said that, like, he's got a cool opportunity in that he's here.
He's here.
And he's going to get to either prove it or not prove it. So that's like a fun thing that we'll be able to watch. But even I think Charlie said yesterday, like he was not bad in camp, but he wasn't like crazy.
Yeah.
So it remains to be seen what he's going to be. But just based on the evidence that we have, if I had to bet $10 on who's going to be the franchise goalie, I'm betting Zaragan.
It will probably, based on Flyers luck, be Alexei Kolosov. Like just
for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, of course, yes. Like just based on, history, the franchise history, it'll be Kolosov the minute they trade him, becomes a franchise goalie. But yeah, I think of everyone they have in the system, it's like Zaragan has the highest upside. Yeah, that seems to be what it is. All right, Eminem's PR manager. Obviously, we're still in the very beginning of their careers, but once it's all said and done, do you see both Michkov and Martone getting their numbers retired?
Sir and or ma'am, or them. This is an unhinged question.
Like
Porter Martone has been here for 35 seconds.
It's funny because they only retire champions / Hall of Famers.
Right.
Like that was when Mark Howe got in, Ed Snyder made the exception. All right, I guess if you didn't win a title, but you go to the Hall of Fame, I'll retire your number.
Right.
Like, so we are talking about guys who have either won 2 Stanley Cups or have been given the highest honor of the Hall of Fame.
Jason Martinez in the chat. What up, Jason?
Oh, what up, Jason? Anyway. Like, chances are no.
Right.
Like, even if they're awesome, chances are no.
Yes, definitely.
But like, I hope both go up there.
Yeah, once he beats Ovechkin's goal record,
course,
obviously his number will be retired.
He really needs to pick up that pace.
Yeah, no. Porter Martone, unclear because he's been here for 35 seconds and he's a child. So
yes, he is.
I'm not sure about that one.
He's not 19 years old yet.
But
it's
Michkov, definitely.
I just thought it was a fun question.
It is a fun question.
I mean, I really hope so with 39.
Honestly, I love that that's where your mind is at.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the kind of optimism I relate to.
Are we going to see these numbers in the rafters? First of all, we're talking about 2050.
That's not a real year.
Is that something we're talking about right now? Like, when would those numbers go in the rafters?
Yeah.
Like, 10 years from now, we're talking 2035. That's the absolute shortest amount of time, probably. Like
every year now sounds fake.
Yeah, it's not real.
No,
but we're talking 15, 20 years down the line, hopefully. Crossing my fingers on it. That one just made me laugh. That's why I put it in.
I like it. Also love M&M's. Great job with the PR.
Excellent.
Yeah,
great commercials. I love the cartoon M&M's.
Peanut M&M.
Yeah, he just seems like a funny guy. All right, this one here from JC. Would you be content if Alex Bump turned into our version of Troy Terry?
So I pulled up Troy Terry's numbers because I saw this question. And last season, he had 21 goals, 34 assists for 55 points in 77 games. If we get that out of this dude that we plucked out of nowhere, I will be pleased.
Yeah, Troy Terry's numbers the last 4 seasons, 67 points, 61 points, 54 points, 55 points. We're not just talking about an NHL player. We're talking about a 5th-round pick. And Troy Terry also taken in the 5th round, so I get the comparison.
Yes.
And it's like, if you get an NHL player in the 5th round, congratulations.
You have won.
You hit that pick out of the park.
Yep.
If it is a legit top 6 contributor, you made an amazing pick. Like you did the best job you can possibly do. If Bump turns into Troy Terry, yeah, man.
That would rule.
That's awesome.
I am inordinately excited about Alex Bump.
I'm
obsessed with him.
I'm trying to keep the expectations under control.
I'm not.
But like, I don't know, a dude, national championship, shows up on the Flyers.
The attitude is just...
And I'm like, Shane Gostisbehere rookie year? Why not?
Why not?
Yeah,
catch me in the Alex Bump jersey. The second one is available in the store, is what I'm saying to you. He seems like he's going to be so much fun. I really hope he hits, because if he does, I think he's just going to be a real joy for all of us.
Now, listen, anything can happen in a player's developmental trajectory, but he is a little older. He went through the NCAA route, and then he got to play a little bit in the AHL playoffs. There hasn't been anything throughout the last few years of his development that's like, he's not going to turn out. Now, what exactly does he
Right.
turn into? A 65-point guy? I have no idea.
Unclear. But,
But-
he's definitely a player.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems as
And
if
that's a
he
win.
is without a doubt a player. Like Charlie's development camp breakdown of him was like, he's too good for this.
Yeah.
Like and listen, he said the same thing about Ivan Provorov, and it's not as if Ivan Provorov's a superstar, but he's a good NHL player. It's not like he's bad. It's just he didn't turn into Duncan Keith like I thought he was going to,
Serviceable second.
Yeah, he's a fine. And if Alex Bump is a good third liner, that is a hell of an outcome for a guy who you didn't know what he was going to be when you drafted him.
Right.
But I would love for him to be a core piece, a dude. It's like, we need this guy.
The Troy Terry to our Trevor Zegras.
Yes, exactly.
If you will.
This one from Grooves. Even after the trade for Zegras and the draft, I feel like the Flyers still need to do a lot to address their lack of center depth. How do you think they best accomplish that and go after their future 1C? I think the depth is fine.
They got so many centers in this
I
draft.
think the depth is fine.
Will
You
they all
need
hit?
to
I don't know.
Cross your fingers that a couple of these guys have top-end outcomes.
Right.
And, yeah, you still have a lot of assets, and you're going to have a ton of cap space soon.
Yep.
You need to go and you do need to find that guy. I just think you bought yourself time to do it.
Yes.
Where you have the depth, it's like, yeah, and we'll be an okay team with what we have, and hopefully some of these guys they just drafted develop and get here sooner than later. But you still need to find that dude. You need to find that workhorse at the top of the lineup. But you bought yourself time to do it with the moves they've made.
Right. And I think Charlie says this all the time. When like Flyers fans say like, oh, I want a sniper on this team, what they mean is they want Alex Ovechkin.
Yes.
And when I think a lot of Flyers fans say we need a 1C, they think they're thinking about Connor McDavid. Like that's what they're thinking this team needs in order to be an actual cup contender.
And those guys aren't available.
I'm not convinced that because if that were the case, then Edmonton would win the cup every year. Like if that's what you need in order to win, because like, is anyone on Florida as good as Connor McDavid? No. But by committee, they have a better team than the Edmonton Oilers are. And if the Flyers can find the right pieces, and if Zegras can turn into what it looked like he was going to be when he was 20, then I do feel like you can build a team around that is good enough to really push for Stanley Cups. A lot of work still to be done.
Yeah.
A lot of things need to turn out like and the best possible outcome available to us. But it can be done. That said, like you said, they have a bunch of NHL players that they could trade. And if a center becomes available that looks like something closer to a traditional 1C than Trevor Zegras looks at the end of the season, then you go out and get him. If there's a guy on the market next summer that you think might be the guy, then you go out and sign him. Like there are ways.
If like Zegras turns out to be a point-a-game player and Sean Couturier stays healthy and you have Cates and some of these other guys come up, like, okay, that's our center depth.
Yeah.
Like Jack Murtagh and Jack Nesbitt, whatever.
Luchenko.
You can probably, and Jet Luchenko, of course. Forgot about him already. Drafted him a year ago.
Right.
Like if these guys have decent outcomes, there's ways to build the team without having Nathan MacKinnon at 1C. Listen, you do need to upgrade the defense considerably, or you need one of the goalie prospects to end up being Connor Hellebuck or something like that. But
not in the playoffs.
There's just the best goalie, one of the top 3 goalies in the league. If that is the case, then you have a little bit different of a building path. Like I bring up that 2010 team. I don't know if I would call it had a 1C on it. He just wasn't yet in Claude Giroux. I don't know if I'd call Danny or Richards or Carter a 1C. But when you have that top 4 on defense, it makes up for it a little. When you have that kind of depth at forward just in totality, like it makes up for it a little bit. And that's a way to build a championship team too.
Yeah, if we end up with and please in the chat, I'm saying this like with a grain of I'm not being serious here, but if we end up with 3 of the top 10 wingers in the entire league on this team, like you're telling me they're just not going to be good because they don't have Nathan MacKinnon? Like I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, I am right there with you, Kelly. And with that, let us hit our second commercial break. I am still bringing it up. This is a major mistake on my part. Notion is not loading.
What
read do we have here? Oh, it's Mando. I don't need the read to do Mando.
I can do this one, Bill.
Kelly, did you know that just 12 hours after a shower, the average man's Grundle odor level is a 5 out of 10. Now, 12 hours out after a shower, you shower at night before bed. That's not long after you wake up. Man. It's the morning. It is the next day. It is that next morning. Well, that's where Mando comes in. Mando is a safe, paraben-free, baking soda-free, full-body deodorant for men created by a doctor. That's right, a doctor who saw how normal BO was being mistreated and misdiagnosed. So he decided to go this way and come up with something that is safe for your entire body. And when Mando says entire body, they are not kidding. We're talking pits, of course, belly button, sure, balls, butt packs, grundles, and so much more. And the scents are geared towards men with options like bourbon leather, clover woods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. Listen, you know I'm a Sea Isle guy. You know I love going to the beach and then hitting the bars after. Big fan of no shower happy hour. But just because you've been sweating in the sun all day doesn't mean you need to stink in public. And that's why you need to get yourself a Mando starter pack, because they're perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers now get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code PHLY at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and that free shipping. Again, that's code PHLY at shopmando.com. And please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. And while we're here, let's talk about Cherry Hill Kia. It's quite... I'd be like, no, put us first. We're not going after the balls one. Anyway, Cherry Hill Kia. If you're looking for amazing deals and super low lease payments, Kia of Cherry Hill is the place to be. And you can get great savings all month long on their massive selections of over 450 new Kias to choose from. They have over 40 Tellurides, 100 Sportages, 35 Carnivals, 75 Celtos, and 80 of that beautiful Kia Soul. I don't know why. I just love the Kia Soul.
Everyone has a square car they like.
I got to tell you, Kia is the hottest automotive brand in the country for a reason. It's because 7 of their models received 2025 Car and Drivers Edition's Choice Awards. That's pretty nuts considering there were more than 450 models tested and only 20 industry-wide received the award. 20 models received the award, 7 of them Kias. Combine that with the best warranty in the automotive business. It's 10 years, 100,000-mile powertrain, and 5 years, 60,000-mile bumper to bumper. So stop in today and tell them PHLY sent you, and you'll receive a $100 restaurant.com gift card just for taking a test drive or completing a trade appraisal. I know why people buy Kias elsewhere. I just don't know why. Drive home in your new Kia today, just minutes from all bridges, or available online 24/7 at kiaofcherryhill.com. You want to talk a little? Let's do a little CBA stuff here.
Oh,
I'm done with the mailbag questions.
I love labor.
Yeah, I wanted to. I knew we weren't going to be able to do it while Charlie was here without him rolling his eyes, and trying to move us along. I saw in the flyby today you poking fun at the 84 game schedule.
Sure did. Hate it.
Who is asking for more regular season games?
Literally no one wants this.
Like, we have come to the point, and I said this earlier when I was talking to VG on the Gargano show, like, if Connor Hellebuck wins MVP, yeah, he was the most valuable player in the regular season, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. And then he loses and isn't very good in the playoffs. It's like, yo, take the trophy off him. Just give it to Barkov. You know, like, just give it to McDavid.
Right.
We have devalued the regular season so much that it's like, actually, it's an 82-game preseason and nothing matters until the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now you're adding more, and it's only 2 more games. Every team gets 1 more home game. I get it. It's just like, yeah, we needed more regular season hockey.
No, and so, like, the playoff format makes it so being the best team in the conference not as important as it used to be. This is just more opportunity for dudes to get hurt.
Yeah.
This is more travel to make them all sleepyheads. Like, it's just like, it's more, 2 more pre and post games for me and you.
Yeah, that's
Nobody
really the issue here.
asked for this. And I don't, I guess it's because they're going to add a team at some point.
Yep,
And
they're going to
so
add a team.
We need another 2 games to play that team 2 times. But it's just, they're always solving problems that aren't problems.
And like, I get it. Every team gets 1 more game of gate revenue, and with the cap going the direction it's going, every owner is going to want that. But the playoff revenue is what everyone says is so important because the players don't get paid in the playoffs. There's like the share, and that got increased this year, but they're done. They've made their payments. And now the owners collect a vast majority of the playoff money. I don't understand expanding this and not the postseason to even at least be like a 3-game play-in between like the 8 and 9 seed or something. I don't
know.
That would make them more money in my mind.
I'm very displeased with this agreement generally. Once again, I am asking NHL players to think of their own interests for 5 seconds.
I think it came down to things are going well. The league is trending in the right direction. We showed you the salary cap numbers. Be happy you're going to be getting paid a lot more. Let's keep the train on the tracks here. That's what I think it came down to.
The players were worried about a lockout when the players should have been planning a strike, in my humble opinion. Those 2 things are different. Solid chance NHL hockey players don't understand that those are 2 different kinds of work stoppages. One of them, not your fault.
Yeah, it's like how we call your fault. It's like how we call guys who don't have contracts holding out. Yeah. When they are not holding out,
they
owners
are
signed.
holding out.
Yes, they do not have a work agreement. Therefore, they can't go to work. But for some reason, we call it a holdout.
Yeah. So, I mean, whatever. They were never going to strike because
and listen,
they're all dumb.
As someone who now, like, my career depends on the NHL, I am happy that there will not be a work stoppage.
Let's not act like we didn't do a whole year of COVID shows with absolutely no NHL hockey to talk
I hated doing that. It was terrible. Look, we made do. You know, we were doing shows about albums and movies and God knows what else. But
what a time.
I would prefer to be talking about actual games and not like having to watch the 10 best games in Flyers history DVD again.
It's better when there's stuff to talk about. But I don't know. Whenever I see the opportunity for the workers in any particular situation to gain themselves a little bit of leverage, a little bit of benefit, and they don't do it, and it upsets my personal ethos.
Here's the thing as well. In terms of like the players putting themselves in position to make more money.
Yeah.
There's a few teams that make considerable revenue.
And somehow we're punishing all of them.
Many of the best players have decided they don't want to play for those teams. They want to be anonymous in warm weather and not play for the revenue generating teams. Yeah. And because of that, you limit how much this league is going to make. Their personalities and their choices and preferences have also kind of led to the stifling of the league.
True. You're right.
You know, like getting these guys to agree to do an Amazon show is probably a really difficult negotiation.
That's true. You're not wrong.
And I do think the players are not just in negotiating with the owners, but in their own choices have like kind of limited the revenue the league generates.
It's a fair point. Hockey players are big dumb.
Listen,
all the
it's
hockey
great
players
that
watching the show, please stop being dumb.
I like the growth of the NHL. I think it's good that people want to play in Vegas and Florida now and places that they didn't previously want to play.
Yeah.
But if the major market teams are never cup contenders, like that hurts the revenue the league generates.
Yeah,
we badly need another Kings Rangers final.
That gets back to the cap, which like, again, they could have probably pushed a little bit harder to kind of restructure the way this cap goes because it benefits no one but the owners and it hurts teams like ours that would be willing to spend unlimited buckets of money to make the team better and benefits stupid teams like the Carolina Hurricanes what up, Dr. T, who don't want to spend any money and hamstring themselves. Like, the league should be catering to us.
Yeah,
we
they don't
want
like
to
that.
make it better. They don't like that, and that's the biggest problem.
That's I will say though, like Jeff Marek has been calling for a couple of years now. Like, we need to grow up the cap. It's time. Like, it's just this very simple, structured thing, and like make it more like the NBA or the NFL. Here's the thing. As much as I think it would be cool to have some, I want no cap personally, but
None.
that's gone. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Those caps are very complicated, and I understand this one. Like,
Yeah, because
while
it's
a luxury
made for
tax
idiots.
system,
Yes.
a luxury tax system, and a birds' rights system, and all those sorts of things are more like favor your team a little bit more. I don't want to have to learn more again. That's the issue here. I
mean,
kind of like, hey, you know what you do?
Do you think I
You
ever
take the
learned
total.
this?
You take the total, you divide it by the years, and that's the average annual value, and that is their cap hit, and you add it all up, and that's the amount of cap space you have left.
Someone
Like-
walked in here and asked me to explain escrow to them. They would have to kill me.
I kind of get it. I think I get it enough, but I don't want to have to explain it. Was there anything else that really stood out to this? Like the contract length thing, I'm cool with.
Yeah,
because
whatever.
8-year contracts are too much.
Yeah.
The 84 game schedule, the LTIR loophole, it's just like good, but also, oh, now you do it.
Right.
Like, you know, because we have one of the teams that if it was an option, like if we were contenders, would be like, oh, yeah, you know.
That's the thing.
Maybe
Again,
Sean Couturier's back hurts and we add someone at the trade deadline and then the playoffs start and oops, all superstars.
Yeah,
like,
once again,
but now that's closed to us.
you're just hurting the teams willing to spend money.
Yes.
Because those teams are still spending the money.
I think
it's
that's
just
the
not
thing that
counting
pissed me
against
off.
the cap.
The thing that pissed me off the most was the bonus structure. It's like, oh yeah, this was the thing killing everybody.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like the upfront money, not the tax thing.
No.
We're going to do nothing to address that. It's the bonus structure that we're going to limit now. That's what bothered me. A couple odds and ends. How many super chats do we have? 2. All right. So we have some
Two?
couple.
How many likes do we have? 184? Nonsense.
Get us to 200 at least by the time we start super chats. Article on BSH. Article on BSH about Zamula, how he could be the odd man out. Found that pretty interesting. You mentioned earlier, like, how much longer are we going to do this? I think it's just until like somebody takes
else.
his spot.
Yeah.
Like whether it's Oliver Bonk at some point, whether Emile Andre establishes himself as an NHL player. It's just going to take someone pushing him into the press box and then ultimately to waivers.
And also, like, we have a whole new coach now.
Yes.
And, like, maybe this coach will look at Zamula and see what we see and be like, this is just a guy. I don't care about this guy. Get me somebody better. Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see because, like, that's something that I don't think we're really talking about enough, which is that, like, the whole structure of this team is going to be different. There's a solid chance that guys that Torts liked, you know, Taka could hate them, and then they don't play as much, and vice versa. So, like, I don't know. We're gonna see.
He's gonna end up loving like Tony Dick and Delorier. Like that's what's gonna happen.
I want to believe differently. He sold me so
no,
many things.
No, I don't think it's actually.
I don't
just
think so
it's
either.
Funny that every coach has their guys, man, and we
They're
don't know.
always the worst ones.
We don't know who they're gonna be. Well, it's always a bottom of the roster guy, and we disagree with who it should be. I'm looking forward to finding out who Tockett's guy we don't like that he does is.
Who's it going to be? Nick Sealer.
The Oilers get Isaac Howard. We got a question about that yesterday. I just found it interesting because the return is Sam O'Reilly, who the Oilers selected with the 32nd pick last year. That is the pick the Flyers traded them to get into 31 this year, and that lands them the Hobie Baker winner, who said he's going to play his senior year at Michigan State and probably wasn't signing in Tampa.
He's like a, do we need another little dude?
I don't know how interested the Flyers actually were.
No.
I just found it interesting that it was the player they took with the pick we gave them. That's all.
I mean, it is interesting, sure.
Hack got another job. Dave Hakstol, still an NHLer.
You never lose your job.
Nobody dies in the NHL.
No.
You just find a new place.
You just got to get in there one time, and you are
don't.
employed for life.
He did a bad job here. He did a bad job in Seattle. He was an assistant with the Leafs, and now he is an assistant in Colorado.
Another good hockey team. Wild.
Maybe he interviews well. Maybe he interviews well.
He probably does.
I don't know. I just look at that guy and I'm like, that's just some guy. That is just literally anyone you've ever met on the street.
Anything.
Just
besides get jobs and then do nothing with them.
Generic dude imaginable.
He really is.
Maybe that's why head coaches keep him around. It's like, you know what isn't going to happen?
Oh, that's true.
He ain't taking my job.
You're not going to fire me for Dave Hakstol.
They're not firing me for him. He's not replacing me. I don't know if Jared Bednar is like in that, like on the hot seat or anything.
I seriously doubt it.
Maybe that's what coaches see in him. And this one I just wanted to do for fun. A lot of time, like a writer writes an article and it's like, yeah, I didn't come up with the headline, man. That's the editor or something.
Always.
So I'm not blaming John Bailey for this. But in the hockey news, a John Bailey article about Michael Leighton getting a job with the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah.
The headline is Flyers playoff hero Michael Leighton hired by Red Wings. And this is a troll. This is a troll to me directly, whether it's John Bailey or the editor or some random intern who thought it was funny and changed it. To call him a playoff hero is like if you saw The Dark Knight and turned it off in the final half hour. And it's like, oh, Harvey Dent, he's the hero of this film. Like, Michael Leighton was a hero until he was the villain.
So, having a way too much insider knowledge with how the hockey news operates, don't think a lot of oversight was put onto that headline.
I'm not blaming anyone. I just think it's hilarious.
However,
to label him a playoff hero.
He had to be making a joke.
That's
right?
Funny, right? It's if you want to talk about the
he
end
had
of
to
the
be
season,
making a joke.
I guess it says playoff and not final. Like, yeah, man, through 3 rounds, I guess you could have labeled him a hero.
No. But the one thing erases all the things that came before
listen, I'm not arguing. I just find it funny. I just thought it was a pretty funny troll.
I need to know if that was a joke or not. If it wasn't a joke, I have questions.
All right, let's hit those super chats. Just a couple today. Let's start with J.E. Frucione. Respectfully, I disagree. This roster isn't yet a playoff team. Not with these goaltenders and just one offensive upgrade in Zegras. Too much hope is being pinned on an inside straight of players improving. Yeah, I mean that's the idea. But like that's the idea of the rebuild.
But also like remember how 2 years ago when a team that was worse than the one we had last year but had better goaltending very nearly made the playoffs.
Like I hope Vladar helps even out the goaltending and that will help ease the load off of Ersson. But yeah, the goaltending is the major concern. I do think though, like Matvei Michkov taking a step after he showed a ton of potential and was pretty awesome for 2/3 of the year and just had that middle section where he disappeared.
The idea that like that's a gamble.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. And I know this is hard for us because we've been hurt so many times before, but I feel strongly that it's okay for us to just accept that Michkov is going to be awesome. He's going to be better next year than he was last year. He's going to continue to get better until he turns into an absolute superstar, and he's going to change this franchise. Like that's where I am with Matvei Michkov after one season. Like I feel very confident in that. The other ones are gambles, sure, but also like you built the whole team on these dudes.
Yeah, that's
so like yes, you are.
It's
in fact
finding out about them. That's the idea.
You are in fact putting a lot of faith in the idea of Owen Tippett being better than he was last season. If he's not, you got a big problem that needs
Let's just trigger the overtime thing just in case we go over today. Head to allphly.com for more of the show. But yeah, that's the idea is we're going to find out about these guys. I think it's good enough to be a bubble, like to be on the bubble. I think they could potentially make the playoffs.
Yes, a wild
but they're
going
to be
spot.
in that soft middle where maybe you make it, maybe you don't.
Right.
Columbus almost made it. They were not good.
They were real bad.
All right. And another one here, Catholic Nano. Does Risto recurring injury have him more like Ryan Ellis at this point than a piece you can count on to move later on?
Yes.
I mean, I think like Ryan Ellis is never going to play.
Yeah, that feels like a lot.
Like I don't think he's going to end up on LTIR and never come back.
No. I mean, like on the scale of like
counting on him is not something you can do.
On the scale of like Ryan Ellis to Phil Kessel, Iron Man.
Yeah, like
he's definitely
he's closer to Ryan Ellis.
But I don't think we have to worry about him like never playing again. That said, I do think
the injuries lower his value.
Yeah, the idea of moving on from him at this point might not be happening unless
the return is.
I was gonna say unless you're willing to just dump him, for like a second or something at the deadline because he's having a pretty solid season.
Get rid of him and be done.
Right, maybe that would happen.
And
but
I don't know if they're interested in doing that because they seem to kind of like him.
And also he's not been that bad when he's been playing.
Yeah. All right, and finally, JH wraps it up here. Harrison Persons unite.
357 days till we sign Connor McDavid.
Yeah, and 357 is the countdown for McDavid.
Let's go.
Listen, I'm allowing myself to live in the world because he hasn't resigned yet.
Why hasn't he? Why hasn't he resigned, Bill?
Who's to say?
Big question.
Yeah, maybe he wants that free internet, cable, and mobile for life from Comcast. Who knows? All right, and that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, follow us here on YouTube. That's right. Hit that subscribe button and set that reminder bell so you get notifications whenever we go live. Follow us on Twitter and follow us on Blue Sky and follow the podcast because podcasts are fun. Sometimes you just need some audio in your life. That's it for us. I am Bill Matz. That is Kelly Hinkle. Until tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.